Okay, so we're gonna just look at the next steps with this assignment and how I can start shifting into using filters and blending modes to have it be a bit more like a pop art piece. So I'm gonna start with a color halftone filter. I'm not saying you have to apply this filter to your portrait. It's where I'm gonna apply it in mine. You can apply it anywhere else in your design. Okay, so it could be applied to all of your layers or some of your layers. So to get to that menu, that option, what I did was I made a copy of my portrait layer. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to drag that layer to the copy layer button. And now I have two of them. The layer that is above is the layer that I'm going to apply this filter to. And we haven't done a whole lot of work with filters, so let's go see what's available. To this image, I want to make sure I'm applying it not to the mask, but to the photograph. So I made sure that in my layer, the photograph is what's selected. So now I'm going to come up to my filter menu here, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to find the one for color halftone. It's located here under pixelate. So scroll over and grab that. And you get to choose like how many pixels you want to have for the radius of this color halftone. Let's see what 10 looks like. And it may be that you experiment. You just keep messing around with it. Okay. So I got a color halftone, and it's interesting. It's not maybe as bold as I want. So if you want to make an adjustment to that, you can undo it. You can go back into your filter menu, and you can come in, and if you wanted it to be like a little more bold, that's another option that you have. Okay. From there, I left it like that. If you want, there's a possibility that there is. Oh no, I didn't leave it like that. Sorry, I did change it. So if you'd like, you can come through and look at how these blending modes apply that filter to the layer below. Remember, my original photograph is on the layer below. So perhaps as I'm scrolling through here, I might find one that I like better than just the straight up filter because it allows some of the picture below to show through. So yeah, I can't remember which one I chose, but I think it may have been that one. So I'm going to go with that. All right. The next step, let's take a look at adding in a shape to get our text to pop forward. So my text is on this layer that I want to pull forward or make it have more contrast. Okay, so that's on this layer. I want to make sure that the shape layer I draw is going to be on the layer below that. So I am going to select that layer. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to find my shape tool. My shape tool is here. And I'm going to go and I'm going to pick a color that I want to fill that shape with. Okay. So the nice thing about Photoshop is it'll give you like across the top some of your recently used colors, or you can come in and you can select a color with the eyedropper tool. So go to that tool from your artwork. Okay. So if I know I want to stick with this sort of rust color from my image, I can go and pick it from the image. I can go to my shape tool. Okay, I can go to my fill color, and then I can make sure that that color, the one that I just created, is the one that I'm going to fill with. I don't want to have a stroke on the shape, so I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to just click and drag. I'm just dragging out a rectangle. I know I need it to be maybe about that wide, and I can make an edit to it later. So that ended up coming in directly below, actually directly on top of my Run the World layer, and I don't want that. So I'm going to pull it below so that I can start to see my text. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to just resize it, and you can do all of those things with the little move tool here. So get it how you want it. Before we move on, obviously it could be a little bit shorter. There's a few things I would do to tweak it. And now we're good. So next steps. that layer has a blending mode applied to it. Okay. The one that I used was multiply, which allowed some of the colors below and the image below to show through it. And I don't know, I liked that effect. It could be that you don't like it. You want to do something totally different. Okay. Final steps. The other changes that were made to this piece, or at least where I'm thinking about going next, was I was going to color in the lips. All right. So I made a brand new layer for that. Okay. I titled it lips. And shrink that. So you can title it that. There you go. Okay, and I just want to make sure I'm on that layer. I put it directly above my filtered portrait image so that I could see through it as I'm painting. I used a paintbrush for this, so if you're going to go and shift over to paint, make sure you zoom in. If you want to use the drawing tablet, that might help you out. And I just grabbed a straight up brush. The one I used was just a regular brush. You want the size to fit within that shape, so you'll have to adjust it. I put maybe a little tiny bit of softness on the edge, but you don't have to. It could be totally solid. That's definitely in alignment with the pop art style design. Okay, so the color I'm going to use, I'm actually going to repeat that same orange because I want to bring that in here. And I really just went in and I painted over where that's located in my original image. Doesn't have to be perfect, especially with it being pop art. It can be slightly off. I applied a blending mode to it, and the one that I told you I liked was color burn, and that's what happened. It was kind of a random adjustment. If you need to extend it, maybe get like a little bit of a smaller brush if you want to kind of like extend the edges out of that paint color. That might be kind of cool to do. There you go. All right. And by putting the blending mode on that allowed the halftone filter and the photograph on the layers below to show through. And so it still has that appearance of being three-dimensional. It's got a highlight, it's got a midtone, it's got a shadow. It doesn't just look like a cutout piece of, like a cutout layer, like a cartoon. All right. So some things that I might do next. I went ahead and I edited a few of my photos. Those photos are stored. I'm going to show you that I got myself a little bit more organized here so that when I place them in here, they're all ready to go. So I'm going to just go into the file and I'm going to go place embedded. So bringing in more pictures. And what I did was in my images folder, I made a separate folder for the ones I had edited. So these were my originals down here. And these are the ones that I edited. You know, I've used that one and that one already. So I'm going to go in and get this scallop shell. I'm going to place it in here. And remember, it comes in with a transparent background if you edit it in advance and if you keep it with a transparent background. Okay. All right. So I'm resizing it. I'm thinking that I want to rotate it. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to move my guide. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to put it right there. Like it's kind of hanging off of that necklace. All right, so that's an idea. I'm just kind of showing you how you can add images and how you can manipulate those images and edit them and make adjustments, okay? So if I want to go further with that, right now it's not really fitting with my color theme. And I also might want to make it look like it's sort of sticking out because it looks sort of flat and it looks really cut out. So I'm going to apply a layer style. I get to my layer style menu by double clicking the layer. Okay, comes up. Make sure you can see the object you're applying it to before you do anything else. So there are some things that I can do here that you might like. For now, let's just do a drop shadow, okay? You have to click here in order to get this menu to appear. This menu shows you a preview of what you're working with, okay? So I can adjust kind of the size, the spread, the distance of that shadow to give my piece a little bit of a feeling of being three-dimensional. I'm going to follow the same kind of like shadowy pattern that I see. I have a shadow under this side of my chin, which makes sense to have the shadow under that side of the seashell. And these are non-destructing layer styles. If I don't like the drop shadow, I just grab it from the layer and throw it in the trash. Okay, so and then my original image is back there. So ways of bringing in, other ways I should say, of bringing in and keeping my colors unified. We learned in the last lesson that we can apply adjustment layers. So let's look at that. Let's see if there's an adjustment layer here under my single adjustments that's going to allow that to become more within the alignment of the colors that I'm working with in my design. Okay. You have a channel mixer. That could be helpful. You've got your photo filter, which we already know about how to do. We have color balance. That's another one. And we also have hue and saturation. Let's play around with that one. This one allows you to change the colors that are in the image. Do you see how it's also changing my lip color? We can fix that in a minute. I'm really only concerned with the color of the seashell right now. Is it going into the spectrum of color that I already have in my design? And it's not very noticeable, mainly because I think it's just sort of not that colorful, right? It's got some whites in it. So I'm not sure that I love that. That's the whole color spectrum. If you do any adjustment layers, remember they live above the layers you're applying them to, and they can be trashed, okay? And you can go back to original if that's not what you want. I'm wondering if color balance is really more of what I need for this. So that it's only applying to the seashell, remember to right click on the layer and do create clipping mask. Then that adjustment layer only applies to the layer directly below it and not everything else. So, and you can see that here as I go in and I make that adjustment here. So I'm trying to get it to be just like a little bit more in the orange family. So it matches some of the other colors in my design. Okay, I think that's okay. It's definitely warmer and it looks a little bit more like it's supposed to be a part of my piece. Okay. Other things that I might do, obviously I'm going to bring in more images. Like I got to keep adding, I'm going to keep layering, I'm going to keep working with these blending modes. But I was thinking that to create this halftone pattern somewhere else in my design, again, create unity, that it might make sense to apply it also to the layer that's got this, oops, it's right here, this layer that's got that it takes guts on it. All right. So, but because that text, remember I placed it in a frame. You actually have to, before you do anything else, you have to rasterize that layer, right click, and you should be able to rasterize it. You probably have to first convert it to a smart object. Yep. Oh, and then maybe you don't have to rasterize it. You may not have to. I'm just going to pull it up on top of everything else except for the pine. Yeah. So let's see if I can apply that same filter to it. Okay. Again, come in here. I did 15 for the last one. Let's do that. Ooh, I like it, but it made it hard to read. So yeah, probably going to be better if I go lower, right? So let's try it with, what do you guys think? 8? 5?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Let's try 6. All right, it's better. Yeah, it's still. I'm still able to read it, and it kind of has that same feel to it. I don't know. I think 8 might be better, but that's okay for now, and I'm gonna call it. All right.